Newzroom Afrika is tracking developments around the passing of Jessie Duarte. In Cape Town outside Parliament, we have Athi Mtongana. In Gauteng, in Johannesburg, we have Ziyanda Ngcobo stationed outside her family home. Tumaole Mohlaoli is live for us at Luthuli House, where we just heard from the relevant authorities. Let's start with you, Tumaole. We heard from the Treasurer General of the ANC, really expressing shock and a visibly upset spokesperson of the ANC who was just holding back tears. But let's just talk about the fact that a week of mourning has been declared and the funeral will take place at 2 p.m. today.
The funeral indeed taking place at 2 p.m. today, and we are told, of course, ANC President and President of the country, the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, will be in attendance, and of course the Treasurer General of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, will be one of those who will be in attendance as well. This is something that he said as he was giving the details of that particular funeral after consulting with the family, and he is on his way now back to the family home. And you made mention there of a very emotional and distraught Pule Mabe, national spokesperson of the African National Congress. And just as Mr. Mabe stepped out of this briefing room here at Luthuli House, one could hear him break down behind this particular wall behind me here as he made his way back out from the media conference room. Paul Mashatile, the Treasurer General, rushed out to comfort him, and this speaks to the sense of loss and grief that has overcome the ANC, the movement in general, but also South Africa and other political formations at the loss of one of the leading lights of the African National Congress and the liberation movement in general, as well as an advocate and an activist for women's rights. But to pay a tribute to Jessie Duarte, I'm now joined by Sasabona Manganye, who is the ANC's regional secretary for the Joburg region. Ndate Manganye, what can you say in terms of remembering Mama Jessie Duarte?
Yeah, firstly, I must indicate that as the ANC, we are saddened and shocked by her passing. We have lost a giant of the struggle, for the emancipation of the women of South Africa. You will know that Mam Jessie Duarte, she has been an activist at an early age, born in Johannesburg. She has led the Federation of the Transvaal Women as the provincial secretary. She was also one of the first women who led in the provincial government of Gauteng as the MEC of community safety. She also served in our provincial executive committee in the ANC, and followed by her serving in the NEC until she was elected as the DSG. And you could see throughout her leadership role that she was an embodiment of the core values of the African National Congress. She leaves us, during a period of renewal and rebuilding of the ANC, a critical moment that we hoped for a lot of guidance from herself, and especially because she's not a leader who was obsessed by leadership positions and all that, and we believed that we needed that voice of reason, which she has always distanced herself from any form of factional arrangement in the organization. She was the true representation of the kind of the ANC that we want to renew and rebuild for the people of South Africa.
Mr. Manganye, when you talk about the representation, true representation of the ANC you want to see for the people of South Africa, Jessie Duarte, the late, was of course one of the only female representatives in the top 6. And this is something that she had said that she wants to see changing. Do you think that it's time that that message and her drive to see more representativity, not only in women, but also with people of color in general, in all spheres of society, must be represented in all structures of the ANC, including the regions?
Look, we are hoping for that, and especially because you will have seen our provincial executive committee it's a representation of such. I mean, we've got 3 women in the office bearers. But at the end of the day, the ANC constitution requires that 50% minimum of all the structures must be women, and our structures are represented as such. Of course, there is that need that, women must also hold these critical positions in the ANC, which, historically they were not given that kind of an opportunity. And we believe that that should be possible as we move on, but it's something that you can't guarantee because it's something that is born out of a democratic process. It's not something that you can design to say that this is the kind of outcomes. And I mean, even in the provincial conference in Gauteng, we did not know that it will produce the results that it has produced. It was through a democratic process, and we believe because our internal democracy in the ANC, is improving from each and every conference. So we believe that probably going to December conference in the national office bearers, we might also find that there is some improvement from the last conference.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there. That was ANC Joburg Regional Secretary Sasabona Manganye, just remembering and paying tribute to the late Jessie Duarte, the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. With that, it's back to you in the studio.
As we continue to get remembrance, let's take you to Cape Town outside Parliament. That's where we find Newzroom Afrika's Athi Mtongana. And already some MPs have expressed their condolences to the family of the late Mom Jessie Duarte. You've heard from Pemi Majodina, the ANC's Chief Whip. Athi.
Yes, that's true, Dudu. But before going into the role that she played in trying to intervene in matters concerning the African National Congress in the caucus within Parliament, I want you to remember that she was also a key figure within the African National Congress's NEC members who were deployed to the Western Cape to try and resolve some of the internal squabbles that took place and landed the ANC in a position where the PEC was even disbanded. She was here last year in September on the 15th, and I remember asking her the question around the internal squabbles within the ANC in the province, and she responded firmly, as she always has, with regards to matters pertaining to the African National Congress, saying to me that we need to sway away from being obsessed, that's the word that she used, with the issues that are affecting the African National Congress internally, and focus on the work that the ANC is trying to do outside with regards to trying to serve its constituency. She was encouraging members of the ANC in the Western Cape to go out and assist residents of Khayelitsha. That's where she was in September last year, saying that the members of the ANC should go out and encourage residents of Khayelitsha to go and vote. That was during the local government elections, and she also encouraged them to also go out and sway people towards getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Again, going back to the issue of the ANC caucus within Parliament, she might have not been in the caucus, but Pemi Majodina, the Chief Whip of the ANC in Parliament, has come out to say that they have really lost a key figure within the ANC that would come in whenever she would be called upon to resolve some of the issues that they would face within the caucus of the majority party in the National Assembly. Let's listen to what Pemi Majodina had to say.
It's a very sad day in the family of the African National Congress. We, as the ANC caucus, we feel the pain that is cutting very deep. The passing away of Comrade Jessie Duarte is such a blow in the ANC. She has worked very well with us, given us support as the ANC caucus. During the difficult times, she will come, intervene, and give a proper guidance. She was a pillar of strength to all of us, a shoulder to cry on. We called her auntie, we called her Dabs, we called her Rahadi, because we could speak to her in private, we could engage her, and surely she was a woman of substance. May her soul rest in eternal peace and rise in glory. She will be missed. Her principled leadership, her firmness in dealing with the organizational matters. She was hating factions. She was hating people that are ill-disciplined in this organization, will take the spear and move forward as the African National Congress. May her soul rest in peace.
And the chief whip of the ANC in the National Assembly, speaking to how Jessie Duarte was a pillar of strength. It is indeed evident through her relationships that she had with some of the leaders of the African National Congress within the Western Cape. The IPC's Ronaldo, for example, one of the key figures that has been tasked with restoring the ANC in the Western Cape. Many women within that IPC in the Western Cape have really relied on her as a pillar of strength and really turned to her at times of trouble. And indeed, she has really formed a strong relationship, particularly with the women within the African National Congress in the Western Cape. Dudu.
Athi Mtongana, thank you very much for that update. Let's take you outside the Duarte family home. That's where we find Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo to talk us through what you have been seeing and hearing. Ziyanda.
Yeah, Dudu, it's not an easy moment for those who've known Jessie Duarte, for a very long time. Those who've known her not only through the ranks of the ANC, but on a personal level. And one such person is Tumaole Mohlaoli. And in her last capacity, you would have worked very close with her in the ANC office. But I just want you to talk about how you came to know, the longest serving member on the ANC's top six.
Firstly, condolences to the family, the Dango and the Duarte family, Jessie's kids and her grandchildren. We are shattered. We knew that she wasn't well, but we selfishly didn't want her to leave. We still had hope that she will still be with us. I've known Jessie from the age of 15, interacting with her before the unbanning of the ANC, working together with student organizations, giving support, and herself being in the leadership of the women's organizations, and also being a gender activist and a freedom fighter. She also took me under her wings, and she became a personal friend, a family friend, and a big sister. I've related with her on different platforms, even when we all went into public office, as well as post the unbanning. We worked together in setting up the structures of the South African Communist Party, in setting up the structures of the women's movement, the ANC Women's League. We worked together in the structures that were created in our communities before the unbanning, in defense of our communities against the apartheid-sponsored violence in the West Rand, and she was working throughout in the then East Rand, as well as in the West Rand, working with Comrade Ronnie Casrels, working with different people, including Robert McBride. We became friends. Our lives became very intertwined. It wasn't nice to see Jessie being sick, but she fought even during that time. It has not been easy this morning, being woken up around 1 and being here with her kids and her brothers, everybody here, the leadership of the ANC. I will miss her personally. I've lost a confidant. I've lost a person who could even discipline me. I've lost a person who was consistent in how she views things. And somebody who gave us the space to grow, to commit mistakes, and to give us a second chance in anything that she identified being something wrong about us. But of importance, I think the ANC is much poorer where's the current NEC without a person like her? I think we needed another day, we needed another month, we needed another year with Jessie in our company.
My condolences to you. That's very emotional, Nomvula Mokungana. I'll leave it there for now. You can tell that it's not an easy moment for her as she reflects on her relationship that she's had with Jessie Duarte since she was 15 years old, really, but also on an organizational level, how much poorer the organization is without somebody of the administrative strength of Jessie Duarte. And I just want to quickly show you, the preparations that are underway outside the home, the road, the street, I should say rather, has been cordoned off. There was actually a police signala, and of course this is in anticipation for the arrival of President Cyril Ramaphosa. I've spotted some of the Presidential Protection Unit members who are in and around the vicinity conducting a sweep, and really you can imagine the logistics that need to be put in place within such a short space of time, given the fact that she has been granted, a special Category 2 funeral, and she will be buried just this afternoon. So not an easy moment for the family, the friends, and of course the comrades of Jessie Duarte.
Indeed, Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much for that update. Ziyanda Ngcobo, outside the Duarte family home, Tumaole Mohlaoli in Luthuli House in Johannesburg for us, where ANC members have really described how a gaping hole has been left not only in their lives but in the organization following the passing of Jessie Duarte. Athi Mtongana is outside Parliament getting reaction from parliamentarians, hearing there from Umampemi Madlodina, who is the chief whip of the ANC. Will continue to bring you information as and when we get it.